morning and welcome everyone to this session on UK Power Network's Open Data Portal launch. I'm just going to give people a few moments to arrive, so just bear with us for a minute. Just watching the number of participants go up. Fantastic. We've got quite a lot to cover, so I think we will make a start. So if you've just joined us, welcome and good morning. This morning we're talking about UK Power Network's Open Data Portal, which has just been launched. My name is Tamar Bourne. I am the Head of Smart Energy at Regen. And if you're not familiar with Regen, we are a not-for-profit centre of expertise in the energy transition to net zero. We have been working with UK Power Networks over the last few months to support them in opening up their energy data in a way that supports the needs of stakeholders and also in a way that helps us move towards a smart and flexible energy system, obviously to support our move to net zero. So I'll just cover up a few bits of housekeeping first. We're really keen to hear from you all today. So please post any questions you have in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. Please keep those questions coming in throughout the presentations. We've only got a 10-minute Q&A session. So yeah, keep those questions coming in so that we'll try and answer as many as possible. And we've also got the UK Power Networks team in the background who will be writing sort of written responses to your questions. So yeah, do keep those coming in throughout. We also have a chat function. So if you want to introduce yourself in there, we're very happy for you to have side conversations in there. So yeah, please do keep introducing yourself and keeping that conversation going. And if you have any problems during the event, please email Hannah at hstanley@regen.co.uk and hopefully she'll be able to help you out. Great. And also I should just say about the questions, if we have too many questions that we can answer today in the session, we will take them all away and we'll provide a written response following the webinar. So hopefully you'll get an answer to any sort of key questions that you have. So the agenda this morning, we'll firstly be hearing from Matt Webb, who's the Head of Enterprise Data, to introduce the Enabling Open Energy Data programme. Then we've got a video to actually launch the new Open Data Portal, and then a Q&A with Dave and Steve from the data team to answer as many questions as we can, followed by Yu Singh, who will cover the future collaboration and next steps. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Matt.
Thank you, Tamar. Good morning, all. First of all, thank you for joining us today, for taking time out to attend this launch event. So many of you will have joined us back in July, where we gave early insight into our Open Data Portal, during which we invited you as our stakeholders to contribute to its final development and testing. At that event, we stated very clearly how UK Power Networks do not engage for the sake of it. We do so with intended purpose. And this particular project has been a shining example of that, with the testing and feedback that's happened over the past couple of months directly contributing to the successful delivery of the platform and the various services it delivers. Today, we're officially launching the platform that's come off the back of that engagement, and many of you have directly contributed to that. So really sincerely, thank you for all of you that have been involved, to whether it's just single comments and views that have come in, or those that have actually proactively been involved with the testing itself. So this platform and the corresponding open data services that we've developed, they represent a really core component of UKPN's response to the challenge laid down by the Energy Data Task Force in the first instance, but also the broader movement that's happening within the sector with respect to opening up our data and enabling the digital transition within the energy sector. In defining our digital strategy, which the open energy data aspect is a core part of, we recognise, how open data is an absolute key driver, contributing to the core imperative, improving the accessibility, reliability, and interoperability of our data, the three imperatives that are at the absolute centre of our digitalisation strategy and data strategies. In launching this platform and the corresponding development of our open data services, we are looking to contribute to the opening up of the energy system, the enablement of open innovation, and contributing to the achievement of net zero. So it's not just a platform and data for the sake of data. It's there for a very, very clear or very specific and targeted purpose. We're there to facilitate on a number of fronts: your activities, your actions, your systems, your processes, your products. So it's only with your input that we can make sure that we're delivering in that respect. I'm very, very proud that the work has gone into the development of this platform collaboratively with you as our stakeholders, the UKPN team, and Opendatasoft, the solution providers. We've responded to the valuable insight and feedback we've received from you as a community, and that really has shaped what we're launching today. We've successfully moved from concept delivery in a matter of months, and that's testament to the hard work of the team on the call today and many others behind the scenes. So to all of those people, thank you very much. It's really important to emphasise that this launch is only a first step in what is set to be an ongoing journey towards open data, open energy, and the digitalisation of the energy system. It's a basis, effectively. There are huge opportunities for us to expand and develop it in a number of different directions. Again, this is where we need your help going forwards, but equally we will be as proactive and as innovative as we possibly can in really using this as a launch pad. From here on, we're committed to applying continuous improvement principles to expand and augment the services the open data provides. And in addition to that, we'll continue to collaborate and share with our peers to ensure we all progress together, aligning to common standards in the interest of the end user. We are very conscious of the fact that we as UK Power Networks cannot go on this journey alone. We are part of a broader, and increasingly complex ecosystem, and standardization and alignment is really key to that, so that you as the end user can access, consume, utilize and apply data as seamlessly and painlessly as possible. So that collaboration is very key. Our ongoing engagement with the Open Data Institute, Regen and other key partners is also central to this, as is your continued participation and contribution as users and beneficiaries of the data portal and the data we surface. Through sustained engagement and collaboration with you, our aspiration is to develop a sustained community which does not simply engage with us and the portal on a transactional basis. Going forwards, our engagement will therefore continue with the aim of understanding and responding to your evolving and inspiring needs. But in parallel, we hope to foster the sharing of experiences and successes achieved through the application of our data, gaining insight into the value that you've derived from it. So the concept here is that it's not you say we did, you putting a request for data and us responding to that in simple, direct terms, it being very back and forwards. We want you to share how you're applying that data, the value derived, and not just with us, but with each other. So the platform is there to facilitate that as much as it is to provide the direct service. The idea behind that is that by sharing our insights, sharing the value, it helps inform and prioritize our interventions, our developments, but also allows those benefits to be applied far more broadly than might otherwise be the case. Again, thank you for joining us today, and we hope that what we have delivered is a service that represents a significant step forward in opening up energy data in the UK. And at this point, we'll run for a brief video, which is narrated by the lead developer of our platform, to provide an overview of the Open Data Portal and give some insight into the key developments we've made over the past couple of months since we last engaged with you. So thank you very much for your time, and we'll run the video. Thanks.
Hello and welcome to the UK Power Network's Open Data Portal. My name is Rebecca Flack and I'm an Information and Data Solutions Analyst within UK Power Networks. Following our soft launch event, we have listened to the feedback provided and with the help of Opendatasoft have built some additional features into the platform which we will demonstrate today. This isn't just a project, it is continuously evolving to meet our stakeholder requirements. So new data sets and visuals will be uploaded in the coming months and beyond, so please continue to share your data needs with us. You can access the portal via our internet page, ukpowernetworks.co.uk. Within the Future Energy heading, there is a link to Open Data Portal. When you arrive on the portal, you will land on our homepage. Keep your eye on the newsfeed where we will be posting latest news and any important information that we believe will be of interest to you. The portal is free and open to use, however you do have the option to sign up. and doing so will give you an account with more functionality, such as generating API keys to make authenticated requests, a higher daily API call quota, the ability to subscribe to notifications, including at a dataset level, which I'll show you, and also revisit saved maps or charts that you've built and saved previously. Having this user information will also help us target dataset development to meet specific user needs. From the landing page, you can easily navigate by clicking on these orange buttons to take you straight to the main functionality or using the header menu at the top. One of our latest developments with the support of Opendatasoft is our grid and primary substation dashboard. This pulls all the relevant network data together for one specific grid or primary site. Using the map, you can select the local authority area that you're interested in and click on the substation of interest, or use the drop-down list if you know the name of the site. The dashboard shows key details about the substation, including capacity forecast and headroom, existing generation and demand where available, and greater depth of detail such as future energy scenarios, power quality, and fault, earthing and soil characteristics for enhanced insights to assist with potential developments and new connections in the area. In our data menu, you can use the data request form to let us know what data you're after, so we can look into providing it via the portal. For transparency, based on your feedback, under Documents, coming soon we will also publish a data request log which will show a collection of requests we've received, the status and any additional information. For all published data, we'll visit the data catalogue. This is our library where we can find all our data sets. As you can imagine, this list will continue to grow, so to find any specific data, you can filter using the themes, which refer to the icons in the top left-hand corner of the catalogue cards. This example, shapefiles, shows all the geospatial files which can be used to layer your maps. You can also filter using keywords or search for specific data. Let's take a look at one of our data sets, grid and primary sites. Each dataset contains an information tab which explains what the data is, the metadata, the triage matrix and the schema details. There is also a section where users can share how that data is being reused. This would be of great interest to us at UK Power Networks and the open data community as a whole. Simply click the Submit to Reuse and populate the fields accordingly. Registered users can also subscribe to specific datasets to receive important information. The Table tab shows all the records in the dataset. You can see the volume in the top left-hand corner. You can filter using the facets identified on the left-hand side or sort accordingly. You will also see a suggestion section where you can comment on an element of the data record to improve data quality, or perhaps you need some clarity on a particular field. You can also suggest a new record or send us feedback using this functionality. Other tabs available are dependent on the data types within the dataset. In this example, we can see default chart and a map. The export facility enables the user to download the whole or partial dataset into recognized formats, or for a more automated approach, the API console is available to consume the data, which can be refined here. Opendatasoft have provided documentation and training videos to assist with the API builds and any other functionality on the portal. You can find this in the Tools section on the main menu. From Tools, we can also get to our Map Builder. We can select a dataset to view on the map with the ability to filter from the list of facets available. This can be configured on the right-hand side, where we can change the view, the categories, the colours, and the style of the display. One of the great benefits of this platform is the ability to add layers onto our map, and not just using the UK Power Networks datasets. Here you'll find access to 12,000 other datasets via the ODS data network. If there are any other open data files that we can publish to add value, please let us know and we can host it on our portal and broaden the open energy data community. For now, let's see what the local authority boundaries look like. Registered users can save and share their map by copying the URL. A frame is also available to embed on another web page. In our chart builder, we can again add insight using multiple data sets, or filter data and configure the graphs as required. In this example, we're only interested in the connected generation. We can change the colour and the ordering. Registered users can save their chart and can copy the URL to share with others. Finally, and importantly, how to contact us. This platform is still a beta version, so we value your feedback as we progress with the development of the portal. On the homepage, there is a feedback or suggestion form where we would love to hear your ideas. Alternatively, you can email us using the Contact Us link on the top header. This has been an overview of our open data platform, and I hope you found it useful. Thank you to everyone who has given us feedback so far. It's really helped shape the platform, and we look forward to hearing from you and working with you on our open data journey. Thank you.
There we go. Thank you, Becky and Matt, for that introduction. It's really exciting to see how the data portal has come on, and really exciting to see it now live and running. I'd like to bring in Steve and Dave from UK Power Networks to answer some of your questions. Right, Steve, would you like to just briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Steve Mould and I work as Network Data Manager for UK Power Networks. My team and I are responsible for 3 imperatives related to our network and asset data. So those imperatives are to make our data accessible, reliable and interoperable. As we're here today to talk about the Open Data Portal, we'll be focusing on the accessibility aspect of what the team do. So when we say accessibility, it is absolutely about making sure that our data is visible to our stakeholders and ensuring that they can get hold of the data that they need to enable their collective use cases. So I personally believe that our data portal represents a huge step forward in terms of providing the open energy data community with access to our data. And I look forward to answering any questions you may have about it. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Steve.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dave Young. I'm the Information Data Solutions Manager at UK Power Networks, and I have a small team of 8 who support me in delivering information and data requirements across the whole of the UK Power Networks business, and obviously to our third-party stakeholders as well. So my team's involvement here is really the engine room underneath, actually extracting and provisioning data based on requirements and use cases of your good sales, making that available up on our portal in a timely fashion, making it accessible and refreshable at the rate that you want to see that information.
Great, thanks both. And just a note to all of you, so we've got some questions coming in, but keep them coming in. And also there's the ability for you to upvote questions that you're really keen to get answered today. So yeah, there was one question that came in the chat about whether we could share a link to the video. So just to let you know, we will definitely do that, so you're able to share it with your colleagues and also to watch it again, because there's obviously a lot of information to take in from that. And if it's okay, I'd like to start off with one of the questions that I have, which was about the data sets that you've chosen to publish. And we know from the last webinar that we ran that stakeholders are really keen to see operational and asset data. I'm just wondering if that's influenced what the data sets that you've put into the beta version of the portal.
Yeah, I'll take this, Dave, if that's all right with you. So yeah, so we believe that the majority of use cases that our stakeholders will have will be reliant on understanding which assets we have, where they are, what capacity they have, and how they're being utilized. So it kind of spans those different categories of data. So the asset data describes what it is. Operational data will describe what it's doing at any point in time. And we believe by providing that insight, in some cases we will meet use cases entirely. So it could be that somebody wants to know where to connect to the network, or it may be that by providing that insight, it will provide a foundational layer that can be built upon to fully meet a use case. So for example, somebody may want to know where to connect a series of EV charging points. So they'll want to know what the electricity network looks like and what it's doing at any point in time. But they will also want to combine that with other factors, perhaps demographics, car usage, statistics, off-road parking availability, that kind of thing. But irrespective of what the use case is, we believe that by providing that visibility of the assets we have, where they are, what capacity they have, and how they're being utilized, it will always be a factor in the majority of use cases. In terms of the data we've targeted initially, so we've got a three-stage approach to how we are releasing data. So the first one is about retrospective publication. So we already have data that's out there, but it's disparate. So what we've done is we've brought that data into a single location. We've applied a triage process to it to make sure, first of all, it should be out in the public domain. We've licensed it openly so that it can be reused. And then we've put it into the portal and layered it with capabilities to make it accessible. In terms of what we do next, so the next stage will be reactive publication. So as you saw on the portal, on the video, there are opportunities for stakeholders to contact us and request particular data. So we believe that by meeting those requests where we can, so there's a couple of points. The first is obviously we have to have the data in the first place. And the second is that it has to pass the triage process, because we have to ensure that there are no privacy, commercial, legal, ethical issues by releasing data. But where we can and where we have it, we will endeavour to publish it. And then the third approach is proactive publication. So we have a campaign of engagement with stakeholders, which we'll be running over the coming months. And this is where we want to engage proactively to better understand people's requirements, to understand their use cases, and to understand the data they need to meet them. So hopefully that answers the question, Tamar.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. And linked to that, there's a question from David Phillips about use cases. So with so many use cases, how will you decide which ones to prioritise? What's the process you're going to go through?
It's a very, very good question. So I think there's the use cases that we're aware of already. So in the launch event that we held a couple of months ago, we asked which use cases were most popular. And I think enabling net zero and preparing for flexibility ranked as the top two use cases. Obviously, they are massive subjects and they mean lots of different things to lots of different people. So what we plan to do next is to have further engagement with stakeholders. We've learned the preferred engagement methods, so we plan to use those preferred engagement methods to reach out to as broader section of the community as we can, because we feel that we need to cover every sector, because we can't prioritize one sector over another. And so we need to explore specific use cases under those headings. There's probably hundreds. And in some ways, one of the things that we need to do with open data, we're very keen that we publish data based on value rather than based on volume, because there's little, it looks good if we put hundreds and hundreds of data sets out. It's less good if they sit there stagnant and nobody looks at them. It doesn't really achieve anything for the community. So in being able to assign value to the data that we're publishing, we'll be able to see which use cases are delivering the most value to the broader community. And so I can't specifically answer that question, say this is what we'll do. I guess it's a learning curve, and it's one that we want to engage with the community on. So we'll be led by those that have the strongest use cases, I guess.
Great, thank you. And there's another question here from Nolene Keane asking, how frequently is the data in the portal updated?
Okay, Steve, I'll take this one.
Okay.
Yeah, so obviously the data refresh rate will be very dependent upon the data sets that we make available and those that are requested by the users of the portal. Obviously, where there are referential data sets, and I think you saw in the video there, we're not restricted just to the data sets that UK Power Networks will place on that portal. you have the ability to ingest any of the 24,000 data sets that the Opendatasoft platform has available that are put together by communities around the world. So you have the ability to ingest those as well. From our own perspective, our data sets will be refreshable at a regime that's suitable for users, really. So if you're driven by users and they want information on a refresh on a monthly basis, yep, we'll do that. On a weekly basis, we'll do that. And then we're striving as well in the near future as well to actually look at some of our near-time, real-time data and see whether or not we might have the ability to actually stream that information onto this portal in a more near-time, real-time information, so that users can ingest that in a much smarter way. And some of the areas where that might be useful is obviously around the telemetry information around our network, and making that available to users to do their own analysis and desktop analytics to come up with insight themselves. That might help them, as Steve mentioned earlier, in the commercial arena around solar, PV, renewable sources of energy connecting to our network, and where might be the most appropriate place for them to make those decisions around where they might connect to our network. So we're flexible. We're very flexible about the refresh rates, and will be driven by users and stakeholders and that as they use the information. So they come to us and they like a piece of information, a data set that's useful to them, and we can distill the refresh rate, and we'll probably add that to our metadata actually, and give the initial refresh rate on our metadata on each of the data sets. But if they request them at a more regular basis, then we're happy to obviously take that request on board for the greater good.
Great, thanks, Dave. And so you mentioned there that moving towards real-time data in the future. There's also a question here from David Openshaw about the granularity of the data. Are you looking to increase that over time as well?
Yeah, so obviously the example there that Becky showed in the video was obviously some of our low carbon technologies and that, but connected and aggregated up to remove ourselves away from GDPR particular issues. So we aggregated that data up to our grid and primary sites. But of course, yes, we do have that data down to our secondary sites, so our lower the site, the substation in your street, as it were. So we could aggregate down to that sort of level, and I think, yeah, without doubt, we can do that as long as we've gone through the triage process, as Steve Mould mentioned earlier, to make sure that we are adhering to GDPR, sensitivity, personal information, etc. That you can't identify an individual property or MPAN as part of that data. Then, by all means, yeah, we'll make that available at those lower granularities.
Great, and you also talked earlier about the sort of 24,000 other data sets that people will be able to access and overlay, which I think is one of the most exciting functions about the portal myself. So yes, there's a question here from Dave Hornby about acknowledging that you're sharing others' open data, such as local authorities and the Environment Agency, etc. So how are you going to ensure that third-party data sets are the latest and the single version of truth is maintained?
Yeah, so slightly more difficult there, obviously, where we've said that ODS, there are 24,000 data sets. Obviously, they're data sets that are basically anybody who's using this platform around the world. Those data sets are by nature open. So obviously, yeah, they're third-party data sets that we don't control. So we'd have to, people would have to look at and can contact, of course, because they can contact the owner of that data set as well using that portal at any time and ask the information directly of those people as to how the veracity and the up-to-dateness, as it were, of those data sets. So they can do that themselves. As you sort of said there, the exciting bit is that this portal does make that available and does allow you, especially in the mapping arena, does allow you to play analytics with those 12. I think there's around about 12,000 data sets that have got spatial data around them. So you could lose yourself for days in this portal and that, just basically layering data upon data to try and get insight. And we're really keen to understand how people are using that insight. So hence, the involvement with stakeholders and that we want that interrelationship with those stakeholders to actually understand how are you using our portal, what are you finding out? Because we'd like to know as well that are there other things we can enhance that insight by doing more for you rather than less for you. As Matt mentioned earlier, this is a journey. We want to open up the doors and actually open our arms and sort of say, look, how can we help you strive to the goals that you're trying to achieve by what we can do as well. I think anything else, Pete, that you want to add to that?
Yeah, I was just going to add to that, Dave. So in terms of interoperability, one of the things that we're really keen to do is to use industry standards, industry metadata standards to describe the data that we're publishing. So as you saw on the video, on the data catalog, there's a tab that describes the information of the data set. And within that, it will have typical metadata attributes, kind of the publisher of the date it was published, the frequency that the data should be updated with. And so obviously we can be accountable for UK Power Networks data. I would need to check, but I would imagine that ODS's published data has similar metadata assigned to it. So one of the things is it may not be perfect from day one, but in answer to the question of how will we make sure it's up to date, we will have a lot more visibility of the refresh rate and when it was last updated through that metadata. So even if we don't have it from day one, we're definitely on the right kind of trajectory to get to where we want to get to.
I think one other aspect. Sorry, Tamar. Just one other aspect on the open data sets themselves is for our stakeholders as well. If the stakeholders themselves have got I've got data sets that they want to share, then they can come to us and ask us if they need be to actually put them onto our portal as well as an open data set as well. So the greater community can share that as well. So that's a bonus of this sort of portal as well. So it's a two-way conversation.
Great. And there's a question from Danae about how does your mapping function interact or intersect with the forthcoming National Energy System map? And there's another question sort of linked as well about how does your portal link with other DNOs? Like how are you collaborating with other DNOs to make sure there's a joined up way of accessing open energy data?
So that's a very good question. Matt may wish to come in on the National Energy System map, but before he does, I think there's a lot of activity in this space. There's a lot of organisations looking to publish data openly to help drive the sector forward towards the net zero goals. And what we are aware of is that in isolation, it cannot be as effective as it is if it's joined up and integrated. So we've already started to open some of those conversations around how we would do that integration. And I think basically, we could give one answer for integration with the National Energy System map, for example, but the answer probably applies across multiple data portals. But Matt, I don't know if you've got anything specific to come in with.
Yeah, so as Taylor rightly says, there's a link between both of these. In terms of the National Energy System map, I think the key thing to recognise is that the basis of the NESM, the basis of this portal is common data sets. So what you have with the National Energy System map is a visualization tool. And there may be many other applications, tools, services that are developed based on the data. The key thing is that what underlies it is common, and that's very much the case here. So where we have geospatial data sets within the data portal, that is common with the data that underpins National Energy System map. It may be that other third parties want to come along and use that data to build other interfaces and solutions and services. That's the beauty of what we're developing here. But the key thing is that there's that consistency and obtained from the same common source. With respect to the question around alignment, coordination, collaboration, as I said right at the start, that's absolutely key to success in this area. We talk about various things like metadata, APIs, common information model. The only way we succeed in that area is if we are all joined up and aligned. And I think for us as network operators, a key to that is the work being undertaken by the Energy Networks Association and the Digitalisation and Data Steering Group. So we are, as UK Power Networks, are active participants in a number of initiatives and projects as part of that group and other working groups within the ENA that are driving forward in this space. And we are very keen to lead in that collaboration. So in launching this portal, we are not doing it in a closed way. We are openly licensing a lot of the content. So for instance, our data triage process, the tool that we've developed that sits behind that, we will openly license so people can adopt and utilize that themselves. We are really, really passionate about being engaged and involved in debates around what standards we should apply, the pros and cons, the evaluation. No one organization has all the answers, and there probably is no one right answer. Collectively, we need to work through that, and that will take time. So yeah, the two are closely related, and it comes down to that coordinated collaboration.
Brilliant. Thanks for coming back in there, Matt. So I'm conscious of time, and there are a number of other questions that we haven't had time to answer, but as I said earlier, we will take them away and provide a written response to all your questions. And so keep them coming in, because yeah, as I said, we will answer all of them. But now I'm going to hand over to you, Singh, to talk a bit about what's next.
Great, thanks. Just making sure to unmute myself there. So good morning, my name's Yusing Pang. I'm the Open Data Manager at UK Power Networks. So in this closing section, I'll be talking about what to expect next from us. Well done for making it this far. Now that the Open Data Portal is live and you, the user community, will be accessing, exploring and utilizing the platform, we're eager to gain your feedback. And if it's anything to go by the volume of questions we've had, it's going to be a busy month. So I'll cancel my holidays. We mean it when we say we engage not just for the sake of engagement, but to learn and build a collaborative community that's going to allow us to continue to develop and enhance this platform. So the portal has been launched under open development or beta, while we obtain and respond to a new round of feedback. And through your previous feedback from our July event, we've learned that our stakeholders would prefer to engage with us via the portal itself and through periodic updates. So that is precisely what we have put in place. You'll be able to provide your feedback in a range of mediums on the portal. There's a contact us button to email us, along with data request and suggestion forms. So in publishing this data so far, we've learned a lot about data triage, open data licensing and corresponding data management practices. And we plan to share our learning to allow others to utilize and benefit from. And as Matt said earlier, it's a continuous journey. We have learned about this stuff, but there's still so much more to learn and to develop. So finally, I'm just going to sort of summarize what are the things to sort of look forward to, or what's coming next from us. So there's the open data strategy. We have been developing this strategy over recent months and continue to do so with the support of the Open Data Institute. This will be articulated in a paper which we'll publish later this year. And ahead of publishing it and finalizing, we'll share our draft paper with this community to gain your feedback in order to ensure that our strategy delivers for you. Next is the Open Energy Data Maturity Assessment. So having developed the framework for this with input from a range of open energy data stakeholders, we have engaged Open Innovations, formerly Open Data Institute Leeds, to conduct an independent assessment. We're currently evaluating the results to help inform our future plans, and we'll openly publish these to show where we are and where we are headed. And I think there was a question earlier about net zero use cases. So we're gonna look to run at least one workshop to engage with stakeholders, starting, well, this is the top one from July, which was planning for net zero. But given how broad this area is, we'll have to keep engaging with you and other key areas to nail down exactly which data sets you want and need. So with the data triage, Matt's talked about this a bit. So we've been working further with Open Innovations to scrutinize and enhance our baseline data triage process and the associated tool. So as well as publishing our triage results on the portal so far, we will also share full insight into the process we apply in order to provide full transparency and understanding. And finally, all this information and insight will be published via our open data portal, and we'll continue to keep you up to date on future progress, developments and planned initiatives via a quarterly newsletter. So with that, that concludes my section. We look forward to continued engagement, and we hope that we have delivered a service that represents a significant step forward in opening up energy data in the UK. Over to you, Tamar.
Thanks, Yusing. So there are lots more opportunities to get involved and to engage. I think the link to the portal is in the chat, so follow that link, go and have a play with the portal and feedback through that portal to the UK Power Networks team. There is an opportunity there, as all the speakers have emphasised, to really shape the portal going forwards. So yeah, lots more opportunities to engage. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for joining us, and thank you to all our speakers today. Have a good day.